Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome. I figured that we could do one last kiki before the end of the year. That being said, I think we should just start with Barcelona and in Spain, because right now, before I logged in, I was just checking up on the Dani Olmo registration saga for Barcelona, and I can tell you without a shade of a doubt, like, it is chaotic. It is chaotic. Like, if I could describe Barcelona's season in one word, or Barcelona since the start of Juan Laporta's presidency in one word, I would say roller coaster. Because as a Barcelona fan, you just never know. Like, it could be 1 minute you're in, it could be 1 minute you're out. And honestly, personally, I don't understand why these things are taking this long to get settled. We've known since, and I don't mean to be critical of the Barcelona management, but come on, guys. Like, we've known since August that Barcelona will need to register Dani Olmo by the 31st of December for him to be eligible to play in the second half of the season. I thought that this would have been priority to get done and sorted out before now. I'm kind of surprised that they kind of left it late to this long. Hey internet friend, happy new year from where you're chatting from. Happy new year and welcome to the show. I was just talking about the Barcelona saga that has been going on in terms of Dani Olmo, and then we're going to walk our way from Spain to the English Premier League and the likes. For me, I think, like, as I was saying before I came on here, I was checking the news of the Dani Olmo registration. Two courts have now rejected Barcelona's application to allegedly anyway to register Dani Olmo. Barcelona are now going through the level routes to sell some VIP boxes. At least this is something that we're seeing being reported in the media. And honestly, I just don't understand why Barcelona leave things this late. Like, this is something that should have been priority since the start of the season. Yes, he does want to stay in Barcelona, so I guess that is the comforter there. That is the good part, that we have the confidence of the player, we have the confidence of the agent. But if I were going to criticize the Barcelona management, it is to say you guys shouldn't have left this too late in the game for you to start putting together, scrambling last minute on deadline day to put this deal together. This deal with the selling of the boxes is something that could have been done well before now. Let's say even in September. Like, why do we always have to constantly, wait till the very last minute to get things done? So if I were to describe Barcelona management and Barcelona season, it would be roller coaster. And I think that best summarizes Barcelona and everything that they've been through this season. Now I'm going to turn my focus away from Barcelona to Atletico Madrid, because, well, ciao, who saw them coming? Who saw Atletico Madrid coming? Because if you said you saw Atletico Madrid coming, being the team that they currently are, I put it to you that you are a liar. Nobody saw Atletico Madrid coming. And I think that's kind of one of the things that is very impressive of Atletico Madrid, in that they are a team that are going to slowly get the jobs done. No, you didn't. No, I mean, we all know that Julian Alvarez is a fantastic player. We see him play for Argentina. He's a World Cup winner. He's a what's the other title? Copa America winner. He's really done it all, and at such a young age. But to see the way Atletico Madrid are quietly, like, notching up wins in La Liga like infinity stones is quite impressive. And we cannot lie, they are looking like this could be one of those seasons where they take it. But if Barcelona cannot get their shit together, and if Real Madrid keep, dilly-dallying, Atletico Madrid are like those silent rangers that could actually come out and take it from under you. And before I came on live, I was watching a video on here on YouTube, and someone was making a statistic to say that out of Europe top 5 leagues, Atletico Madrid has the most depth in bench, in that their bench is being able to contribute in goals and attack. And I think the person has stated, I can't remember who now, and I apologize for that, but the person has stated that Atletico Madrid bench so far this season has contributed 32 goal contributions, and this is including what happened with Barcelona. So they're looking very deep in bench. They're looking very good. I knew it. For me, the shocking part was Barca's rise. I know Barcelona's rise were astronomical, but let's stay with Atletico Madrid, and then maybe we can piggyback onto Barcelona and their rise in the La Liga. I would say, what was I saying? With Atletico Madrid, I think the impressive part of it has been their whole bench, the way they've been able to utilize the substitutions, the way they always look fit and tired. And I always say that Atletico Madrid are like those teams that are, if you don't kill them, and I don't mean that like, in reality, but like if you're in a game with them and you don't take your chances against them, you could come back to rule those chances, and they have been indeed fabulous. I'm excited for Julian Alvarez in the way that he has been able to take his leadership role in Atletico Madrid. And of course, if you're Antoine Griezmann, you would be so grateful for the inclusion of Alvarez and Slot into the team, because that takes like a lot of pressure away from his back, and he can just simply relax and enjoy his football. And Atletico Madrid, if I were to describe their season, it would be unpredictable. They really are unpredictable, and currently they look good. I can't even lie. Barcelona and Real Madrid need to step up. But like, back to your point though, you are absolutely right. When I started this season, given everything that had happened with Xavi last season and how he was summarily let go of the team for saying Barcelona cannot be competitive, yada yada yada, boom boom ka, I really did not have too much expectation. I was really just hoping for us to not get embarrassed in the league, because like if you grew up in the legendary Pep Guardiola side, if you grew up watching Barcelona under the leadership of the great Lionel Messi, we're very used to competing for every and everything in the La Liga. So for the past few years, being a Barca fan and not being able to actually be competitive in the league has been very difficult, I would say. However, it's been interesting to see how the team has been able to rise to the occasion. And now when we compare this to how Barcelona has faltered in the league of late, and I'm thinking in the areas of how they've, towards the latter end of the season, of the first half of the season, as the games had continued to pile up, we saw the fatigues in their leg coming. And when we compare that to how quick they started, and you ask yourself, well, where is Barcelona's ceiling? Is Barcelona the same team? Should we hold them to that standards of the team that were able to go bar for bar, scoring goals for fun in the first half of the season? Or should we just accept the team for where they are as, a team that is probably mid, but they're capable of giving magnificent performances? And if you ask me, I would say, while not mid, I would say it's somewhere in between. We just have, as Barcelona fans, my suggestion to you would be to readjust your expectations of what this team can and cannot compete for. it was unrealistic for Barcelona to expect, or for us fans to expect, that Barcelona would continue to give those magnificent performances week in and week out, especially with how much more football players are having to play this season. However, we do know what the team is capable of. We just need to readjust our expectations. So while we don't expect that same level of dominance, we don't expect them to be mid at the same time. So somewhere right in the middle of that is Barcelona's ceiling moving forward. Real Madrid. If I were to describe Real Madrid's season so far, or Real Madrid this 2024, or Real Madrid this year, I would describe Real Madrid as trust the process. Yeah, that is what I would say about Real Madrid so far this year. They're just a team that you just gotta trust the process. It's not gonna look good all the time. It's not going to be pretty. They will never be that team that probably comes out and play the most magnificent football. But you just gotta trust the process. Like, it's going to look shaky at some point. It's going to look like it's not working at some point. But for the most part, you just have to constantly trust the process, that it is all going to come together when it needs to come together. And this is me saying this as a rival. It's just what it is. And the reason I say this is Real Madrid this season, when we started, they did not necessarily put in the most magnificent performances. Kylian Mbappe had a slow start to his La Liga career. But over the last, as time has continued to go on, Real Madrid have been quietly notching up wins in the La Liga, and they've been really just going about the business, sometimes learning how to win very dirty, very ugly, but at the same time doing what needed to be done so that they can get the points when they need the points. And I think that's really something that has come to be, characterized as the Real Madrid spirit. And if you're a Real Madrid fan, you're probably looking at this and thinking, well, we would like to, not do that. We want to have a more cognizant team. It's probably not you guys' style, so just trust the process. It's going to yield trophies. It's going to yield results. It's part of the Real Madrid DNA. It's just going to work. And if you're a rival fan like myself, deep down in your heart, you know that you cannot marry too much when Real Madrid are down, because again, it's part of the process. They will always spring forth. And I know as I say this, I recognize that they're not doing very well in the UEFA Champions League at the moment, especially given the shift in the way the Champions League has been formulated. But do I expect that Real Madrid will be knocked out of the competition without at least making it to the round of 16? Absolutely not. I expect them to be there. I expect them to challenge for the trophy down to the very last minute. And so if you're a Real Madrid fan, continue trusting the process. And if you're currently watching this live stream or this video, I recorded this while on live. I do go live for matches, so feel free to join me when you feel like it. I go live for Real Madrid and Barcelona matches every time they play, whenever I can. I would most likely get my live set up in advance. It's usually a fun time. We can watch along together. We can basically talk about our frustrations if you're a Barcelona fan, or your frustration if you're a Real Madrid fan, and we can analyze the games together real time and as the matches are progressing. So if that's something you're interested in, continue to follow this channel for whenever we go live. Can I ask that you also subscribe and like and share for the YouTube algorithm if you would for sure like to continue seeing my face in front of your screens. Thank you. The UEFA Champions League this season brought with us some changes, and honestly, I have to say it, the UEFA cooked. They really cooked with that one, because I never expected it, the way it's all turned out, the way it's now looking. It's a competition that has, so if you're not familiar with the way the UEFA Champions League has been set up in the past, prior to now, it's like you get a group stage of I would say 4. I can't remember now, it feels like ages ago. You get a group stage of maybe 4 teams, they play home and away and whatnot. But this year the UEFA Champions League it's now like a proper league table. We're starting to see teams that we thought were going to be okay struggle in this season's UEFA Champions League, and teams that we did not expect to see up there in the UEFA Champions League, they're up there. So at the start of the UEFA Champions League with this new format, for sure, if you were going to be asking yourself who would you expect to be in that top 8 automatic qualifiers, without even missing a beat, you probably say Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. You probably will sprinkle Liverpool, but if we're being honest, you probably wouldn't. You know, RB Leipzig are not doing bad. Bayern München, PSG, these are some of the names that you will say, oh, those are the guys that we expect to be in those automatic qualifiers phase. But as the first half of the Champions League games have been played and we've seen the matches that have come through, the way that the Champions League table has stacked out, this UEFA Champions League, even though we weren't sure before we came into it, it's proved exciting. It's proved wonderful in that it's shaking up everything. So as of today, the teams that are in the first top 8, we have Liverpool, who are a magnificent team this year, and I will be talking more about Liverpool when I walk my way into the English Premier League a little bit later in this live. But Liverpool currently sit at the top of the UEFA Champions League. They have basically notched up wins in this competition like infinity stones, and they look every bit as impressive while doing it. So if you are a Liverpool fan, you guys are onto something. But like the slogan says, you never walk alone. And in this UEFA Champions League, they're not walking alone, because right on their heels is Barcelona, who are now in second place, having, you know, won every game following that initial drop-off point with Monaco. And as a Barcelona fan, the UEFA Champions League for me is quite a very comical situation for me, because Barcelona are struggling to notch up wins in the La Liga, but are on fire in the Champions League, and they beat Real Madrid they beat Real Madrid, but they beat Bayern Munich in Dortmund while at it. So impressive on that front. Oh wait, not on home front, but I digress. Of course, Arsenal coming third. We have Bayern Leverkusen in 4th, Aston Villa. If you said you saw Aston Villa, if you said you had Aston Villa on your bingo card as one of the top 8, you know, on the top 8 spaces in the UEFA Champions League this season, you're a liar. Don't lie. Come on. Like, don't lie. Nobody had Aston Villa in the top 5, much less the top 8. Inter Milan. I was about to say Inter Miami. Oh mon Dieu. No, not Inter Miami. Most definitely Inter Milan is in 7th, and Stade Brestois, you know, is in 7th, and then we'll round it up with Lille. And I have to say it, the French teams, they're really doing their thing. And the teams from France that we expected to be doing the thing is not the team that we are actually doing the thing. Stade Brestois, and I hope I'm saying that right, or I would just say Brest, have been magnificent. I mean, they're really punching above their weight. Lille are also doing the thing as well. So it's really entertaining this season. Of course, the top 8 is just a good blend of, you know, the top 5 leagues. Of course, English teams showing out and showing up and showing out in that top 8. But I think they have 4 teams in the top 8, so they're quite dominating there. But it's also nice to see the German and the Spanish league, and of course the French league, round up the top 8. Now here's some people that are surprisingly struggling that we didn't expect them to struggle, like Bayern Munich in 10th position. I would have expected them to be, you know, somewhere higher in the league, but they're not there. At the same time, though, it's not really a bad thing for Bayern Munich if you really think about it too bad. They are in 10th position, which means that there's still a few games for them to, you know, creep into that automatic qualifier space. So it's not really all hope lost for Bayern Munich. So if you're a Bayern Munich fan, you're sitting comfortable thinking, we got this, it's gonna be all right. But another people that are struggling, they're not doing too well, is Juventus, and they're currently sitting in the 14th place in the UEFA Champions League. And again, this is not where you expect some of Europe's giants to be, but much less of Juventus is where you look further down, and you're seeing Real Madrid in 20th place. 20th place. And for the record winners of this competition, when we started at the top of the season, you most definitely expected Real Madrid to be in one of those automatic qualifier spaces. Will they be able to get it? Like I said, with Real Madrid, it's all about trusting the process. It's not always going to look pretty, but you just gotta trust the process. You're gonna get there in the end. How you get there is not the focus. You can wuru to the answer, but you will get there. You know, how you get there, forget about it. Just know getting there will occur. And further down, and people that are in real trouble is Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. They're in 22nd position, and with Manchester City, it's been a very curious case this season. Looking at the way their team has performed this season, Pep Guardiola's side are clearly struggling. This is not where they expected to see themselves. Unlike Real Madrid or every other team who are currently struggling in the Champions League, I am actually in legit fear for Manchester City, not necessarily because of anything, but because I don't know if they can pull a turnaround. It's not me doubting Pep Guardiola's mastery as a coach. Of course, to me, he's one of the greatest coaches that we have seen in modern time. I love Pep Guardiola down. I am a Barcelona fan, so of course I love Pep Guardiola down. But after having watched Manchester City this season, especially with the latter part of the last 2 months, maybe last 3 months, I don't know. There's just something's not quite right with the way the team is currently playing. But it's less about the team and also him as a manager. I put on my TikTok the other day that Pep Guardiola is forgetting that he is him. He is a boss. Sir, you are you, and I need you to start acting more like you. And by the way, this is a good time to plug in my TikTok. If you aren't following me on TikTok, you're missing a whole lot. Now, why don't you go ahead to my profile? My TikTok is right there. Follow the show on TikTok because we are out there kicking as well. So you don't want to miss anything at all. And if you like bite-sized content and spontaneous content about football, my life and things, and maybe don't necessarily make it into a whole show on here, well, what are you waiting for? We're gonna do the thing, Okay, I'll see you. I'll be on hand to welcome you on TikTok. And if you're still watching up until this point, thank you, friend. I really appreciate you. I really do go live as frequently as I can on this channel, so consider joining me live when you can. I always post in my community tab on YouTube. My community tab is amazingly updated regularly. I don't do anything without telling my community about what I want to do, because I want to do things that you want to watch. And so please constantly check my community tab for when next we go live, so that we can come on here and kick it together and you don't have to catch this afterwards. Okay, thank you. Of course, going back to the UEFA Champions League, and then there's PSG, who are in 25th, which is a little lower than Manchester City at the moment. So like I said, but the most surprising is RB Leipzig, who are currently sitting in 34th. Now I know that things are not, the same from last season with RB Leipzig, but I would have never expected RB Leipzig to crash out this bad, especially in the Champions League. I expected more from RB Leipzig, but they just haven't risen to the occasion this time around. So this UEFA Champions League season has been amazing. It has shown us some curveballs. It has really been one for the ages, and I'm quite interested to see how this is all going to play out once the season is done. Obviously, we're going to continue learning. This is a new format, but UEFA might have done something here. They might have cooked with this one because it looks interesting. And I like the fact that there is no home and away games this season. So if you go somewhere and get cooked, there's no opportunity for revenge. I'm looking at Bayern Munich, so like you have to take it, and that's that on that. Yes. What many of you might not know is that I actually review the Prem. Like if you come to my channel, I know many of you find my channel through the short form content, so I actually review the Premier League in short form content. So if you aren't following my short form videos, or if you aren't checking my short form content on this channel, I encourage you to do that, because many of my Prem reviews are in form of short form content. So please go there and engage and like. And if you found my channel through the short form content and you would like to say, hey, just Max, why can't we create long form content for the Prem as well? Let me know, and because I only want to create content that you guys are going to watch. And I say all of this to say, because we're now going into the Prem and we're going to talk about our favorite clubs and performances and all of that. And I say favorite clubs, realizing I don't really have one, but yeah. Okay, on to the Prem this season. Who saw Liverpool coming? And if you say you did, I put it to you that you are a liar. No, you did not see Liverpool coming. You absolutely did not see Liverpool coming. Liverpool's rise and ascendancy to the summit of the Premier League is amazing. And the other day I was thinking, like, when I was thinking to myself, when Jurgen Klopp left Liverpool, I did expect them to go into a phase where they're trying to figure things out, a phase where maybe they're trying to like understand who they are, recalibrate, rejuvenate and whatnot. I never necessarily expect them to go into autopilot phase. Like what Arne Slot has been able to achieve with Liverpool recently is sensational. It is, without mincing words, sensational. And I don't really know too much about Arne Slot. I can't even lie to you. Like before this season, I was not following man's career. So it just seems like to me, if you're following him and if you know him before, tell me a little bit more about him, because it just seems to us like casual people who are maybe not necessarily in the Liverpool orbit, you know, you're just thinking, who is this guy and how did he come to get the job? But man has taken Europe by storm. And to show how magnificent he is in the way he's coaching this team, or the way he's setting up this team, is that he's not just doing it in the Prem, he's doing it in the Champions League as well. Nobody wants to play Liverpool. And if you say you want to play Liverpool, you're just lying. You're just trying to be bold. You're just trying to be brave. Like, be for real. And Liverpool have just been like, because like they've just been cutting through teams, your best teams, and they've just been on like, and it's been with that level of surgical precision. And I just have to give it to Arne Slot and the boys. And Mo Salah looks rejuvenated. He looks good. I don't know if it's because this is his contract year that he has been up for a renewal, and I don't know the circumstances behind the contract renegotiation, but somebody needs to give this man a contract. Like, he is working his tail off for this contract, and so somebody give this man a contract, because if you don't give him a contract, somebody will. Mo Salah is still that guy. He's still doing what needs to be done. And right now, he is challenging heavily for the Ballon d'Or performances. And that is something that we're going to discuss later, who are our Ballon d'Or favorites in the show. But like, I'm going to leave that for now. But at the moment, Mo Salah is putting in the performances. And he is basically doing it and doing it well. And he is catching all of Europe's eyes by attention. I actually just think like, ooh, I'm so glad that Barcelona doesn't play in the Prem, because the way Liverpool are playing, I don't want to come against Liverpool week in, week out. That is a lot to deal with. So if you're playing against Liverpool, you're doing a lot's work. And now for Liverpool's other competitions in the Prem, I'm just gonna look at. I need to, you know, I need to look at Chelsea for a minute, and I need everybody in Chelsea to come forward a little bit, because when Enzo Maresca was telling us a few weeks ago they were not in the league competition or a title race, it just seemed like he was bubbling us, like he was like trying to like stay humble, because at the time all signs pointed to, you know, the rejuvenation of Chelsea. They were winning games and they were winning them good. I reviewed a few Chelsea performances, of course, in short form content. So if you're interested in that, go check my Chelsea team news playlist. I talk about Chelsea a lot on this channel as well. I know that not many people know that, but so please do check this playlist out. Every team that I talk about on this channel, they have their playlist, so if you enjoy it, you can go check the playlist as well and see what I've been saying about those teams in the past. But now looking at how Chelsea has gone, like the trajectory has gone like this and like that, and it's quite shocking, and that too in quite a short period of time. Yesterday, they played Ipswich Town and surprisingly lost 2-0 to Ipswich Town. Now let me even tell you about that game. The game was on around the same time that the Liverpool, no, was it the Liverpool? No, the Manchester City, no, not Manchester City. Oh my God. No, not Manchester City. I mean, Manchester United and Newcastle game was on. I need to apologize to Ipswich Town because I just thought like, listen, I'm going to go watch the Manchester United game and I'll come back to like be changing the channel, you know, to see what we're doing here. So you can imagine my surprise when I come back to, you know, after changing back and forth, and I say Ipswich Town is walloping Chelsea. And I'm like, now hold up a minute. Oh, what's happening here? Why? And, you know, so I just want to talk to Chelsea, like, why have you guys suddenly dropped form? And let's just take a look at the Premier League, the Prem table, because, like, fam, like, it's not giving what it, like, I still cannot understand how Chelsea went from being second place, you know, we gave, you know, and now they're in fourth place and so fewer points than where they started. You know, they've not provided a result in the last 3 games. They lost 2 and drew 1, and this is kind of not necessarily what we expected for them. But then again, if I were to describe the Premier League, it is also unpredictable because, like, consistency is an issue. So yeah. And now let's talk about Manchester United. Manchester United, they played yesterday against Newcastle, and right now, and that was the last game for the year before we go into 2025 and the second half of the season begins. And I had a kiki on TikTok about this one. Again, like I said, if you're not following the show on TikTok, like, you're missing out on a whole lot of kiki, because like I do be cutting up on TikTok. So go follow the show on TikTok, like go follow the show. You will always see my content when I post it there. So like, go kiki with me on TikTok. But right now, Manchester United are sitting in 14th position. This is after 19 games played, and Manchester United are in danger of relegation. This is a sentence I never thought I would have to say in relation to one of the great European clubs of modern times. I never really expected it. But like, regardless of how Manchester United has, you know, stumbled and fell and, you know, wobbled through everything that has happened in their history, especially since, you know, the transition from Sir Alex Ferguson, I should say, rather. Like, I never really expected us to be looking at Manchester United and having to say relegation in the same sentence. But at the end of 2024, heading into 2025, this is now a real and viable threat. And I don't know what this says for Manchester United. It's really a hard blow if you're you know what? Let me not say. If you're a Manchester United fan, how are you feeling? I had hoped that the presence of, you know, Ruben Amorim would help, you know, pick things up. But it seems to me like even the presence of Ruben Amorim has not done any kind of good in terms of that initial pickup where people are able to like get things together. If anything, they've just been like it's just on a consistent free flow. I have like some thoughts as to whether or not it is time for us to give up on the idea that Manchester United can ever come up to the top of European glory again. Maybe it's time for us to just accept that the team is where it is. I don't know. But I never really pictured that in 2024, I'll be having to say the same sentence as Manchester United, with Manchester United and relegation in the same sentence. It wasn't on my bingo card. And it's now a real threat. And if you watch that that game against Newcastle, again, I reviewed that game in the short form content. So if you haven't seen my review, head on to like my Manchester United playlist on this channel. You'll find where I do my Manchester United review and stuff. Go check what I said about that. I have been talking about defense. You know, maybe on a different time I'll come on here and we can do a tactical kiki about, you know, how defense can actually help your team. But I digress. The next club that I want to discuss in Europe is or in the English Premier League, I should say rather, is Manchester City. Now, if you said you saw the crumble of Manchester City coming, I would be giving you a side eye, because regardless of everything that has happened, you know, it's still Pep Guardiola. It's still Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. It's still the same team that has won multiple Premier League titles in a row. It's still the same team that when you walk into the Etihad Stadium, it was just like a foregone conclusion. It was just like, they're going to win and you're just going to have to deal with it. And you're going to be okay because, baby, they don't care about you or your feelings. It's just what it is. And so to see how Manchester United has walloped in recent time, Manchester City, not United, City, okay? You see, I'm talking about the Manchester clubs a lot. And I realize right now, in thinking about it, like, if you're in Manchester, there's currently no good football happening in Manchester. City ain't providing it, and United is definitely on hiatus. So, like, the people of Manchester are going through. So, my bad. Let's come back. Manchester City have been on a rough ride of late. They've barely been able to pick up points in the last 13 performances. I think they've only had 2 wins. They are currently sitting in 6th position, and I don't think this year they're playing for the championship. If anything, they're just trying to secure Champions League positioning, which again is such a shocking thing. I'm going through this football rap, and like, there's so many shocking things that has happened at the start of the season. Like, you would have never really expected it when you thought about, you know, football in 2024 or the 2024-25 season. Like, who would have been the big players? Manchester City currently sitting in 6th place at the halfway line of the season was on nobody's bingo card. And you could have said, yes, maybe the writing was on the wall. Maybe they shouldn't have sold Julian Alvarez. Maybe they should have, you know, invested in a deeper squad rather than relying so heavily on, you know, Rodri, especially with how much more games that players are having to play. Of course, it makes sense that it would impact the players' legs, and now we see that Rodri's out for like long-term injuries, and Manchester City have like had to deal with multiple long-term injuries, which have, you know, impacted the squad dynamic and whatnot. And you would be correct, or allegedly, I think, in my opinion, is known to like keep a lean squad of people that he can count on. So it didn't seem like out of the ordinary that their team were just not what we expected. You know, it's what it is. And yeah, so to see how they like gradually progressed into what they are now. And I know everyone wants to talk about it like pride goes before a fall with that Haaland stay humble conversation, which he had with Arteta, but like, karma can really be a bitch. So like, what will you say? Because you never know. And I'm going to leave that with Manchester City. Oh, before I move on from Manchester City, I do have to mention though that, you know, the last game for Manchester City, they did win, but I wasn't convinced. I still think that there's still some work, especially in defensive position. Again, I've been talking about defense on this channel for a long time now, especially in the way they defended. Leicester City offered nothing in defense. In attack. Jamie Vardy missed a barrage of chances, so Manchester City were able to escape with the win on this occasion. However, if they play like that against better ranked oppositions, it will not end well. So with this few days, you know, to the next match day, Manchester City, in my opinion, still have like a lot to work on. And now I look at the table and I see that Leicester City are sitting in 19th position, firmly in relegation, and I was like, it makes sense why they were playing the way they were playing. Okay. This has become like a longer episode of Football Wrapped than I actually wanted it to be. Of course, Arsenal is still in the midst of things. Like, for me, there isn't anything remarkable. They're there. They're doing what they've always done every season. So, yeah, you keep doing it, and hopefully, one of these days you guys can win something. And yeah, so that is some of the things that I wanted to talk about today. And I'm going to have like honorary mentions to other things that stuck out to me in terms of breakout players this season, and breakout stars, or also side competitions. I don't want to talk about like the European competition, the Euros. I think that was one of the most exciting, well, not the most, but it was really exciting for us to be able to see. I supported Spain. So let me give you a personal story time. During the Euros, I was on vacation with myself. So I basically, I didn't know that I had fixed an activity on the day of the European finals. And so I was out there in the jungle trying to be adventurous, trying to also look for network. And I didn't have any network to try and know because I just wanted to know what the scores of the game were. So I didn't really watch it live as it was going on because I was in the jungle. But so you can imagine my stress and anxiety trying to refresh. And I had no network, and I kept doing it anyway until I was able to get back to my hotel. And then it was still like this huge lump in my chest because nobody had told me the scores, nobody had told me the final result, nobody had told me anything. So while everybody had like celebrated and were excited, I was just coming in like maybe like 4 hours, maybe 5 hours later, still very not knowing what the results were. But like, I remember when I finally checked the result and was able to watch the highlights and to see that Barcelona stars shined as bright as they could for their country, I was so happy. My heart was full. And of course, Lamine Yamal was one of the standout players in that tournament. And it was just basically the mark of things to come. And Nico Williams, magnificent. Dani Olmo, amazing stuff as well. So kudos to all of you. That was a good tournament to watch. Another tournament that I actually wanted to rank highly this year is the Afcon. Shout out Super Eagles. If you probably don't watch the African Afcon, you are missing out on some good football. I can't even lie. You know, but I had my Super Eagle allegiance, you know, my allegiance as a Super Eagles because I'm Nigerian, you know, to to Super Eagles. And we had a good kiki. The banter that came out of that Afcon was premium stuff. Like, Listen, it was Nigeria versus the continent, and I want to say this, like, you guys were so lucky that Cote d'Ivoire were able to win the Afcon, because if Nigeria had mistakenly won that Afcon, it would have been ridiculous, child. It would have been so crazy. So Afcon was fun, but even better than the Afcon was the memes and the banter that came out of it. Top competition. You guys should check it out next time it comes around. Some of the players that are currently standing out to me this season, because I want to keep this under an hour, so I'm trying to rush through my segments. Some of the players that stuck out to me this season, and I'm going to, in no particular order. I mentioned Mo Salah already, and I think he's right there, up there, having a magnificent conversation for a Ballon d'Or. As an African, as a North African, I think it would be very good to see, someone from Africa win it. So even though I'm not exactly thrilled, only because I don't support Liverpool, but like, I'm really happy to see how Mo Salah is performing on a personal level. And yeah, his statistics this season, his goal contributions, he's just firing on all cylinders. He's him right now, and so Mo Salah is up there. I've been watching Liverpool games for a minute now, and because I talk about them from time to time, and fam, when I tell you Mo Salah is cooking, he's cooking. He's a chef right now, and the dishes are being served, and that's on period. Another person that's having, or was having, a good season before all of this happened was Rafinha. And I have been on this app talking about Rafinha and his Ballon d'Or push, and I will keep talking about it. And I just, listen, Rafa, if you ever mistakenly, but perhaps by chance, come upon this video, I am going to do my part to push this narrative. I'm trying my best, but I need you to do your side too, so that my efforts are not in vain, you know what I'm saying? Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Okay, but really, Rafinha has been another candidate. His maturity this year has been lights out. The way he has played well, the way he has been able to carry himself on and off the pitch. And I know that there's a third criteria. The criteria for being a Ballon d'Or is all about virtue and something like of that. No, I'm not saying the right words, but you get what I'm trying to say. And Rafinha has that in spades. His leadership, has been outstanding, and he's coming clutch for, he's carried Barcelona in some of the games this season. So he's put in performances. His goal contribution and assist this year has been, outstanding. I think if I'm being right, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably his best statistical season since his debut. So we're looking forward to seeing how it will end. Of course, none of this would make sense on a personal level if Barcelona does end up not winning any trophies. So looking at all the team, you guys fix up. Okay, please. Thank you. Another person that's having a good season is Lamine Yamal. And the reason, listen, we cannot talk about it enough. And we've seen how Barcelona have come to be dependent on the young maestro. He is young, his career is just starting out, but when I tell you, he's already doing big things in the La Liga and the Champions League. And of course, when I mentioned earlier, he was one of the standout performers at the Euro competitions. So at such a young age, at 17, he's achieved many things that people wouldn't have guessed, or many things that people wouldn't have expected from a young player or player of that stature. But it also shows that it's not by age, it's by the talent that you carry. And he's really stating a case for himself. His partnership with Rafa has also been outstanding, and I think this year has been a year for him. And I do hope that he's able to have that longevity that Lewandowski has spoken about. I'm a little bit disappointed in Lewandowski in the way he's ended up the 2024 season, first half of the season. Anywho, versus the way he started, because the way he started, I was like, is man having a Ballon d'Or season? Like, are we literally watching the best of Robert Lewandowski right now? Like, is this what we're doing? But towards the end of that season, towards the end of the first half of the season, it just kind of fiddled down, and we're like, oh, okay, he's indeed 37, and this is the Robert Lewandowski that we did expect. So I do hope for Robert Lewandowski's sake that he has had like enough rest and recuperation to come back recharged in the 2024-2025 season, or at least in the new year, to like get Barcelona back and firing, because trust me fam, it's not going to get any easier, and breaks are going to be few and far between. So about Lewandowski. So who else have been your standout players for you? Let me know in the comment section. This year has been a fabulous year in football. Before I move on, I also wanted to highlight Ademola Lookman of the Super Eagles and Atalanta. And I also wanted to highlight Atalanta as a team, because fam, Atalanta is cooking in the Serie A. Nobody, expected them to be where they are. Like, again, when you think about the people who should be bossing a league, you don't think Atalanta, when you think about people who should be bossing the Serie A, you probably don't think Atalanta, and you would have been mistaken, because they've come out this season, they're playing good football in the Champions League, they're playing good football in the Serie A. Ademola Lookman is having one of the most remarkable seasons. Of course, he's most recently been crowned the African Player of the Year, which, by the way, congratulations to you, sir. You deserve. And he was with the highest ranked African player in the Ballon d'Or voting, if I remember correctly as well. So I just really wanted to take the time to highlight this player. Serie A doesn't get like a lot of media PR push, so if you don't watch that league, you don't really know that like a lot of these players are actually doing the beeswax, but like they really are out here cooking. And Ademola Lookman and Atalanta are onto something. Can they sustain their momentum for the rest of the season? I don't know, but it is interesting. I am actually probably will meet up again with this football wrapped at the end of the season to see who were the teams that ended up picking up silverware after the 2024-2025 season. Maybe we'll come back and kiki and see who did the thing, because right now we have Liverpool in first position in the Premier League and in the Champions League. We have Atletico Madrid in the first position in the La Liga. Atalanta in first position in the Serie A, if I remember correctly, and I think I do. Let me just confirm so that I don't lie on live. Yeah. Let me just. And I was right. Yeah. Atalanta indeed in first position. They are tied on points with Napoli. And now that I say Napoli, I think of Victor Osimhen and the Galatasaray issue, or the contract that was never signed. And boy, did we have a year in football. I don't think I could cover everything in one single wrap, but this has been all the things that stuck out to me this year. We will definitely do this again at the end of the season to see who picked up the silverwares at the end of the season, and where all of this initial gra ended up, leaving the teams. And we will come, and after that we will then look at who has had the best season and have our predictions for who would be the Ballon d'Or for 2024-2025. For right now, I think the Ballon d'Or is Mo Salah's to lose, but Rafinha, help me out, sir. Like, you started out well. Help me out, okay? Yes. But let me know what you know. What did I forget to cover in this edition of Football Wrapped? Did Messi win a Copa America this year? I think so. I don't know. I think so, but I know there is a Finalissima coming, and that would be a great opportunity for Messi and Lamine Yamal to meet, But yeah, let me know what you know and how this year in football has been for you. I really wanted to try and keep this under an hour, but this has been fun. Like I mentioned, we do go live for all of Barcelona and Real Madrid matches, and we will go live for some Prems as well. Let me know if you want me to do long form content for the Premier League. I do cover the Prem as well. Many of them are in short form content, but if you want me to do long form content, let me know and I will do that. I only want to create content that you would actually watch. If you are watching this video and you've gotten up onto this point and you're not yet subscribed, help a girl out. Come on, sir or ma'am. Please hit that subscribe button. And yeah, so that you can continue to see my lovely face, you know, break down football for you. And kiki with you about some of your favorite plays and some of your favorite players. But until next time, this has been Football Wrapped for me. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye bye.